The drama series Vikings tells the story of one man's meteoric rise from simple farmer to Viking king. Inspired by both legend and history, the show portrays the brutality and the humanity of the Vikings. But where does myth end and fact begin? This series is a journey of discovery across 8 countries with the world's top Viking experts and members of the Vikings cast to reveal who the Vikings really were. In this episode,
the gods will always smile on brave women.
Oh, yeah. This is Lagertha's favorite weapon.
Women who wield weapons and women who wield power.
She became like a male in her role. She was in charge. Right. She was the one who everybody relied on.
Sex and sorcery.
No. Sex could be included in some of the rituals.
And the surprising secret.
Sailing across the sea to England.
To Viking success. Today we picture Vikings as a warmongering society dominated by men. But Michael Hurst, writer and creator of the drama series Vikings, wanted to challenge that stereotype.
I certainly spend as much time working on the female characters as I do the male characters. And I just like writing about relationships between men and women. It's endlessly fascinating.
Michael's approach is echoed by researchers all over the Viking world. A cutting-edge movement of experts turning long-standing assumptions about the roles of Viking women on their heads. Among them is archaeologist Charlotte Hedenstejerne Jansen.
There is an ongoing and very heated debate on the existence of warrior women in the Viking Age. And this is a question. Were there professional female warriors?
Ida, is your mother teaching you how to use a shield?
Yes, I know how to use a shield.
Your mother was a famous shield maiden.
Was?
Is a famous shield maiden.
Lagertha had to be a shield maiden. You know, I mean, someone said to me, there is no other character like Lagertha on American TV. She's a mother, she's a wife, and she kicks ass.
Shield maidens appear in historic poems and stories about the Vikings called sagas. But many researchers question their credibility because they were written down centuries after the Viking era.
When we read them today, we say that's legend, it's mythology. Why is that the first thing that we say? Sagas tend to be modeled on a kernel of truth.
Charlotte believes that shield maidens were real. She wants to find out how plausible it was for women to engage in Viking warfare.
Nils.
Hi. So Nils, in a battle situation, I mean, it's a very stressed situation, an extreme situation. How would a woman compensate on the battlefield?
To compensate, you have to be skilled. Let's us show some techniques. Louise will be the shield maiden, I will be the opponent. So we can take some equipment here. The first thing I would like to do, being big and strong, is going in and separate her sword and shield from each other. And I'm going in, first step, to control her sword. Push it away with my shield, and here, cut her. This is perfect for me, being big and strong. But she has been trained to counter this. So when I go in, here, she twists the sword. She turns it around. Gets me on the outside and stabs me in the neck. She compensates my strength with skill.
So it is feasible that women fought alongside Viking men. But is there any physical evidence? Actress Katheryn Winnick wants to find out.
Playing Lagertha, people thought is such a unique character. Here she is, a mother and a wife, but also a warrior. One of the questions the journalists always ask me, do shield maidens really exist?
Katheryn has come to the Swedish History Museum in Stockholm with archaeologist Neil Price where she hopes to answer this question once and for all.
Hi, Charlotte. Thank you for sitting down with me. I'm excited.
This is from one particular site, and these are all from the late Viking Age, really, from the 10th century.
These deadly weapons were found at the Viking fortified town of Birka in 1878, carefully arranged around a body in a single grave. Charlotte is the foremost expert on the site today.
And this is a perfect image, I think, of what we expect to find in a Viking warrior grave.
It's by the gates of the fortress, and when you'd have walked along the road to get into the fortress gates, you'd have passed by this grave.
This, of course, I already know. This is my sword. I say my because I just want to pick it up and use it.
You have to balance it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. This is Lagertha's favorite weapon. So, what do we have over here?
That would be the battle knife. And battle knives are an excellent close combat weapon, and it's actually quite heavy.
Oh, I think Lagertha found her new weapon.
Yes.
I like this. Wow.
As you see, it's quite big. It's not a small knife.
No, it's not a small knife at all. This could do some damage.
Definitely.
And I love the fact that there's the center shield boss. Because obviously, playing a shield maiden, we work with those all the time. Shield wall!
They were brothers in arms. They fought together. So the companionship and the brotherhood was very much at the core of this.
Or sisterhood.
Or sisterhood. Absolutely. But in this burial, there's nothing that indicates that this is a female among the grave goods. Mm-hmm. This is just male stuff. All of it.
No detailed study of the skeleton was made when the grave was excavated a century ago. So any conclusions are drawn from the objects, not the human remains.
This person, archaeologically, is a man.
Why would you think it would be a man?
Probably because we make the assumption that all these weapons and the fact that this is a warrior, we interpret that as being a man, which is our modern point of view.
I don't think we should then leap to the conclusion that if it's got weapons, so it must be a man.
Osteologist Anna Kjellström studies Viking bones for a living.
Hi, I'm Katheryn.
She is re-examining the skeleton in the Birka warrior grave and coming up with surprising results.
As you can see, it's rather fragmented. Compared to many other graves at this site, it is actually quite well preserved.
So can you tell me a little bit more how the skeleton was found?
Well, in the main part of the grave, you can see the dead person lying on their side here, surrounded by weapons. This is a very high-status grave. It's an important grave. This is an important person.
So can I just interrupt? Because I'm getting really excited here. And you keep saying this person. In terms of the gender, can you tell me a little bit more about what kind of individual this is?
So this is the ilium. This is a part of the left hip bone. What you can see is this part, which is called the great ischiatic notch. It's very open. And this is a feature that is more common in female skeletons. And I can compare it to that of a man.
So I see it's definitely a different size.
I can see it in your eyes. You know it already. It is a woman.
Yes. I knew it. A woman was buried with swords, knives, axes, shields, also arrows. So this chick was a badass. Could this be actual proof that shield maidens existed?
I say this is definitely a female warrior, someone who made her living on the battlefield. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I think we can go back to old excavations like this one and reevaluate them. And I think we're going to see female warriors taking their place on the Viking stage in a way that hasn't been possible to identify before.
This is so exciting.
Finally, physical evidence verifies the legend of the Shield Maiden. And in an ancient fortress, another myth emerges.
That's really fascinating.
With the resurrection of a Viking witch. One of the most spectacular sights of the Viking world is the mighty ring fortress at Firkat, Denmark. Deep in the Viking heartlands, it was home to a fantastic discovery that opens a window on another world entirely. The supernatural.
For Vikings, the spiritual was totally integrated into the real. They're people that live sort of partially magical lives. A character like Aslaug was going to be someone who wasn't like other women to some extent.
I see things others cannot.
She had the gift.
Actress Alyssa Sutherland has come to Firkat to find out about its magical past. This is her first time at a real Viking site.
It's incredible. I can't believe that I'm actually here. For 4 years, I've been portraying a woman from a time period, and actually being able to come and see something like this makes it so much more real.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hi, Neil.
Welcome to Firkat.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
We're standing on the ramparts of a Viking fortress.
Wow. So what would this have looked like back when the Vikings were alive?
So you've got each of these markers is a post. So sort of grow a post back into each of the white dots and roof it over.
Yep.
So you've got 4 buildings on each side. We've got this circular enclosure with 4 gates, and they're exactly at the points of the compass, joined by 2 streets that meet in the middle in a cross. And in each quarter of that circle, there are these courtyards with one big hall on each side.
But it's what lay outside of the fortress gates, beyond this rampart, that interests Neil. Archaeologists found a cemetery for the people who once lived here.
And one of the graves is one of the most spectacular women's burials from anywhere in the Viking world.
Today, it is marked by a small mound. But underneath was a large grave containing a woman buried in a wagon, a symbol of status in the Viking Age.
She is buried with the most elaboration of anybody in the cemetery. We know that she's wearing a long dress and lots of golden thread, real gold, woven into it.
Real gold woven into it.
And I think we have to assume that she must have been of similarly high status in life, in the life of the fortress.
Right.
Presumably one of its leading citizens.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I play a royal woman on the show. That's really fascinating, and to think that that's possibly what happened to Aslaug.
The picture of a unique and powerful woman is emerging. But it's the extraordinary collection of objects she was buried with that reveal who and what she was in life.
This round thing up here that looks like a box, we call them box brooches. Do you want to hold it?
Sure.
Put your hand underneath it there.
I feel like I'm about to touch an animal that's going to bite me.
That's it.
Okay.
If you bring it down a little and look inside, you see all this gunky white stuff in here. That's the remains of makeup. And it's made of a kind of white lead. No, this is not something you find on every person. If you think of this person with a sort of dead white face and this rather striking, shiny clothes, but she's got lots of little dangly things, little pendants and things, so she'd be clinking as well. It's quite an interesting impression. Also, on her midriff, there is a leather bag that is full of the seeds of a plant called henbane. And there's a lot of folklore and other information about the use of henbane far into the Middle Ages.
Henbane is a highly toxic plant, but it has other special properties. In a lab in Sweden, archaeobotanist Jens Heimdall studies plants from the Viking period and tries to understand how they were used.
There is a lot of use of henbane in history. You can eat it and get rid of pain, and you can smoke it in order to get rid of your toothache. I think the Vikings might have cultivated henbane for medical purposes, but also for magical purposes. Henbane has hallucinogenic compounds within it. So if you take it, you may have hallucinations. The woman at Firkat, she certainly knows about Henbane. It has a magical property for her. Since it's a drug, it's possible to perhaps use it for chemical mysticism in order to get in contact with the world of gods.
Who was this mysterious woman who worked with powerful hallucinogens? The key lies in an extraordinary item buried at her feet. This iron staff is a Viking magic wand.
So you get all the sort of components of a sorceress or a witch coming together. And in the sagas and some of the Old Norse poetry, we read about women with these magic powers. Yeah. And these women, the name for them is a vulva.
Right.
And this obviously is what Aslaug is in the series.
You mean you are a vulva?
Serious? I may be.
They say that vulvas practice forbidden sexual rites. Shall I stay awake?
I had read that the magic was at times very sexual and that sex could be included in some of the rituals and the actual magic.
The speculation, exactly as you said, that the actual act of magic involves sex in some way. These staffs that the vulva use. Yeah. Some of the words for those are actually the same words as for penis.
Right.
And there's a whole group of names of these powerful women that have to do with riding. And there's a sort of sexual overtone to that.
Yeah.
Den helen with ofnu, or housing grana, in eben blaisa, nebite thick ekyar.
And one of the main functions of these women was to see the future. It's not just seeing what is going to happen to a person. There's a suggestion that they start to shape that future.
Right. I mean, it has to be empowering to have those abilities, to think that you have the ability to do that, and you're quite untouchable in a way.
You question my prophecy, but here's proof of it. In your child's eyes, the serpent my father killed.
These sorceresses, they have a very powerful role in society. So think of them as a combination of a doctor, of an advisor, a counselor, a priest, all kinds of things rolled into one.
This is all such cool stuff. It's like I have actually met Aslaug.
All over the Viking world, researchers are drawing women out of the dark past, giving them voices in their own right.
We find them in the graves, we find them on the runestones. The picture that I get from that is that Viking Age society allowed for very, very strong women.
I think that's pretty awesome that women were really significant members of society. I think that's pretty unusual, especially for the time period.
You realize how strong women were, so it's really amazing just to see that they were celebrated.
Even though it was limited, it was accepted, and it was even admired to be a strong woman.